Welcome everyone back to Magius Plays. This time we are getting started in the final of the Metroid games that I will be playing through for this retrospective playthrough of all the 2D Metroid games. Today we are starting Metroid Fusion. This is a rather fun game where you're playing as Samus Aran going through the space station. Or going through a space station where research has been done. Get started there. I'd been assigned to watch over Biologics research team, so I once again found myself on the surface of SR-388. It was there that I was attacked by a life form I had never encountered before. It was only later that I learned the identity of my attacker, the parasitic organism that we now know as X. Unaware of my condition, I was returning to the station when disaster struck. Once the X had infested my central nervous system, I lost consciousness and my ship drifted into an asteroid belt. The ship's emergency systems automatically ejected the escape pod before impact. Biologics vessel recovered it and transported me to Galactic Federation HQ. However, during the journey, the X multiplied within me, corrupting large areas of my power suit. It then came to light that the organic components of my power suit had become so integrated with my system that it could not be removed while I was unconscious. Large portions of my suit had to be surgically removed, dramatically altering my physical appearance. However, the X in my central nervous system were too embedded to be removed safely. I was given a minimal chance of survival. Then, someone found a cure. They proposed using a Metroid cell to make an anti-X vaccine. It seems that the Federation had managed to preserve a cell culture from the last infant Metroid from SR-388. The serum was prepared and injected without delay. The X-parasites were immediately and completely destroyed. As for me, one life ended, yet I survived, reborn, as something different. Pondering this fact, I realize I owe the Metroid hatchling my life twice over. We'll soon be arriving at the BSL research station. I must prepare for docking. The ship's computer has notified me of our approach to the Biological Space Labs, or BSL research station. During my surgery, the research team sent the last batch of creatures we captured there, as well as the infected pieces of my power suit. After regaining consciousness, I learned that an unexplained explosion rocked the station. For some reason, this awoke a nameless fear in my heart, and now I am being sent there to investigate. My mission on the BSL station will be overseen by my new ship's computer. Following the commands of this blunt, computerized CO is something I have to bear, as it was a condition of my taking the ship. For someone who dislikes taking orders, this is the second time I've found myself having to do so. It makes me recall my other CO. And if any of you have played Metroid Other M, that is the other CEO that she is talking about. Now with that introduction out of the way, we arrive on the BSL research station. I have a nice map of the area that we're going to be looking for. There's been an explosion in the quarantine bay. The bay currently stores capsules containing... The bay currently stores capsules containing recent samples. Yeah, this text is way too slow. I'm not going to read through it for you. If you need time to read it, well, I'll give you a bit of time and then you can pause the video to get the rest of it. Basically, there's been an explosion where all of the critters were stored in the quarantine bay. You need to go there and investigate. Because of all the surgery they had to do, most of the stuff that you were able to do in the previous games, you can't do now. Now you may already have noticed, this game is a lot more story-based than the previous games have been. And with that, you get a much more linear experience. Now there's still going to be times where we'll be able to look around and go exploring, but they're a lot more limited than in previous games, and it's a lot harder to take anything other than the route that the developers intended. I could go into the navigation room there. And that's about it. One of the doors is inexplicably locked. And the rest require upgrades we don't have yet. Navigation room locks down every time we go in, so we have to check in with our shippo and figure out what we need to do, even if we already know exactly what we're supposed to do. On the upside, because this is a lot more story-based than the previous games, we get a much more solid and inclusive narrative throughout the game, but it also means that we have a much more limited or linear experience. And there's less we can do about it. But make it to the quarantine bay, find that one of the X-Parasite creatures has escaped, take that out, and we can leave. Now, one of the things about this game is the way the upgrades work. Unlike previous games where enemies dropped unspecified stuff that you could pick up that refilled your energy and missiles and etc, etc, this one, when you kill an enemy, it actually releases the X-Parasite that the enemy was carrying. Because of your Metroid DNA, you're able to absorb that parasite and utilize it for various effects. If there are multiple enemies in the room and you just take out one, the parasite can move over to the other one and enhance it in a variety of ways. It's not something that we really need to worry about in the early game, but it's something that comes up a lot as we go through the game. And here we go, reiterating everything we already know from the introduction sequence. And telling us what I just told you a little bit ago. Somehow the X parasite recognizes that our Metroid DNA and tries to run away, and we can absorb it for refills of various types. All we need to do is touch them. Just help them store weapons. They also get special abilities. So instead of all of the Chozo statues and the Chozo upgrades that they have there, we absorb X-Parasite stuff. And our mission is to block out and prevent the X from spreading. As we move around, different locks will unlock. Let us get around the station. Now, like Zero Mission at AM2R, we are able to grab ledges and hang from them. Here we have the save rooms. Can't remember if they fill everything up in here or not, but saves the game in case something goes terribly wrong. There we have some unidentifiable goo. Can't get through there right now. That the X-Parasite inhabits and reanimates. And another navigation room we need to talk to. Receive news from HQ. They can support you with downloadable weapons data. Once you have this data, you'll be able to use missiles. This will help against some enemies your beam can't hurt. Head to the data room for the download. Data room is here. The room that is clearly labeled with a D on the map. Is your objective clear? Yeah. Up. I'm not too worried about missing anything in here. We're going to be coming through here a lot through the rest of the game. That computer reminds me of a Gruff Federation CEO I served under named Adam Malkovich. He called me Lady on missions. From anyone else, it would have sounded sarcastic, but Adam made it sound dignified. Out of respect and with some irony, I named the computer after him. And we'll be getting into that more later in the game. Now this gives us a recharge room. Refills all of the stuff we don't have yet. Save room if you really want it. Navigation room that they won't let us out until we get what we need to get. And hit the missile tank. Now, unlike Super Metroid, where we had all sorts of buttons that the developers could work with, we only have the L, R, A, and B. So, instead of using select to select the missiles, you use the R button. Electrical interference has knocked out the elevators on the main deck. Related to the X, Trying to find another way to the target. Located here. Yeah. Missiles work. Reload. Yeah. We're already seeing that the narrative in this game is definitely one of the weak points. We can't get through the red doors yet. Well, we can get through here. And head, quote-unquote, out of bounds. And there we see the green X, which refill our missiles. We also have these walls that we can climb along. Something that previous games absolutely did not have. Secret path there that we're not going to be able to do anything with for a bit. More missiles here. Always nice to have. I think that's all that we can find in there. And that gets us through there. Another save point here, which I'll go ahead and grab. And I think that's going to be good enough for one episode. So, tune in next time for more Metroid Fusion. And until then, Magius out.